Let's go. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, I chose this one this time because Jason's here.
I like it. It's a little different.
Hello and welcome to another Woodshop podcast with Mike Coffey of Coffee Custom Builds, Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, and Peter Kapar of Petrie's Workshop. You can find us all, as well as the podcast, on Instagram and YouTube.
Welcome to episode 140 of another Woodshop podcast, where this week we are joined by the guest that gained his powers when he fell into a vat of radioactive bourbon while fighting a mutant moth. He then started a woodworking business in 2014, 4 years later uploading his first YouTube video that then exploded, as all of them exploded. With his out-of-the-box ideas, deadpan humor, and ruggedly good looks, Jason Hibbs is here.
Dang. That's some pretty fire, hype man stuff.
I tried.
That was a
tried.
bit.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to spoil your origin story for the about you.
He's great at hyping, bad at reading his own handwriting. Yeah, it's a real bad combination. Like Pete said, Jason is joining us this week. Thank you, Jason, for being here. We're really stoked about that. We have a couple new patrons this week: Chris Jacobson and a gentleman by the name of Keith Johnson. So big thanks to the new patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for supporting the show.
Keith really
sucks.
It.
Boo.
Hey, you don't talk about our patrons that way.
Yeah, what a loser.
You calm down about Keith. I don't care about all the stuff about Sugar Ray Leonard that's been said about him.
We have had a beef. Me and Keith have had a beef since grade school when he beat me in a race, but I know he started early. Anyways,
he's a cheater.
Story for another time.
It's a Seinfeld reference, y'all.
It's a good one.
I choose not to run.
Yeah, no, big. Right. Yes, thank you.
I challenged him to another race, and that's exactly what he said. I choose not to run. Anyways,
fantastic.
I'm really used to doing Seinfeld references on our podcast, Shop Sounds Podcast. It's available on Apple and Spotify.
Is it
anywhere else?
We'll check it out, I guess.
I don't know. Is there anywhere else?
Sounds nice. What do you guys talk about?
I don't know either, actually. What's the other one?
I don't know.
There's other ones, right? I don't know. Dan, what are the other ones?
Oh, is yours available on YouTube?
Grinder,
Pandora, Grinder.
You gotta be a patron to view it on YouTube. That's how we do things over there.
Ours is available on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
It's interesting.
Cool.
I guess this is another race you lost.
Nice.
A race to YouTube?
I chose not to YouTube.
I deserve that.
By our numbers, you would think we chose not to YouTube.
Chose not to post.
I chose not to get watch hours. No,
casual YouTubers.
No, Jason, thanks for coming on the show, man. We're really glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Really appreciate it. How's the I don't know how I want to go right into it, but how's the dead body situation going over there?
Some days you do woodworking, some days you discover dead bodies. I did not discover any more today or learn about any.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Successful day.
She played a lotto.
Short. Yeah, my neighbor found a dead body next to our house, but the police came, they took it away. We haven't heard anything. There's a lot of theories. The rumor mill is circulating around the neighborhood. People got a lot of different hunches and ideas, but nothing concrete at this point.
There's a joke in there somewhere with concrete.
Yeah, I'm trying to work a joke, but all of them are horrible, so I don't think I should make any of them. So
yeah.
Could be Jimmy Hoffa.
Well, I'm glad you're not finding more dead bodies.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how
he did all his
can
stuff.
tell you can have exciting news and tell anybody anything, and they're like, oh yeah, whatever. But the second you bring up that you have some relation to a dead body being found, that's all anybody wants to talk about. That's the trump card in any conversation. Dead body.
It's a strong play. I mean, you could pretty much shut down any other conversation and be like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, right on. But I found a dead body outside of my yard. I mean, that's a strong play.
But
not just
a real
dead
alpha
body.
move.
A headless dead body.
That's true.
Right.
Headless dead body. And a head was found 30 miles down the road. So
Unrelated.
We don't know. I like to think they were related.
You would hope they're related.
Yeah.
If they're unrelated.
I hope they're not related. I hope they're the same person.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Pete coming in.
Can't
help
saw
himself.
that one coming. I
I mean,
how
technically,
often does a
wouldn't you
body
be
without a
related to
head
yourself?
get found and then a head without a
Yes.
body get found that they don't go together? I don't know.
It has to be. I mean, what are they? I mean, they got to do DNA. I mean, who knows what they're going to do? I assume they're
Welcome
not
to another true crime podcast.
Bum, 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 bum.
They're not going to Brad nail the head back onto the neck or whatever. It's not going to be something crazy like
You
that.
use pin nails. Everybody
No.
knows that. And Thixo.
Yeah.
CA glue in a
Use that,
accelerator.
baby.
Think so. Brad pin nails and like a timber maple. I'm assuming it's a.
You know, it's really terrible because when the body was found, I went over there because everyone was over there, and I walked over, and it's kind of a somber moment. Everyone's kind of quiet, and they're staring down at this thing, which it was a person. I mean, you got
a human being.
Sad, a human being has died, and I looked down, and nobody was talking, and I tried to break the silence, and so out loud I said, "Do you think we could encase that thing in epoxy?"
Is anyone else thinking river table?
You FaceTiming Jimmy?
No, I didn't say that, and I didn't go over and see the body. I'm sorry, that's a horrible joke.
He
No,
was at
that's
the
a solid
road.
joke.
He was at the road charging
almost
entry.
as horrible as river tables. Am I right?
Yeah, the only thing worse than a river table is a river table with a corpse in it. Yeah, no.
Hey,
You
there's
know a
plenty
river
of Han
table's
Solo
bad when
tables
you're
out
like,
there.
that rotting corpse could really jazz up a river table.
I almost spent Bush Light all over my screen.
Bush latte.
Oh man, not the first time.
Now I'm thinking about like Han Solo encased in carbonite. People have like the coffee tables where he's like holding up glass. Like that's fine, but this is too. Oh, sorry, it's too edgy now because it's epoxy.
What?
I don't know.
That's the problem.
I don't understand these nerd jokes.
Because he said elf.
Yeah.
I get you.
Dan doesn't know what a Star Wars is.
What's a Star War?
I'll tell you when you're older.
Okay.
All right, listen. This is way too serious. This conversation has not been funny enough. I don't like where it's headed. The dead body talk was pretty funny, but it's not funny
killer
enough.
jokes, but
so
Not enough.
it's,
that's not why we're here.
That's not what we're here. Not going to talk about that. What, Jason? What you got going on right now? What's the big stuff you got going on? What's the exciting stuff that you can share?
Well, I kind of want to hear him say like, who, like, there's people out there that are insane that don't know who he is. Jason, give us like your elevator pitch. You know, who the heck do you think you are?
Hey, Mr. Man in the elevator. You don't know me, but we're in an elevator together. So I just want to break the silence and say, my name's Jason, and it's nice to meet you here in this elevator.
It's the best pitch we've had so far.
You smell something? Well, that was lunch. It's hit me in an awkward way, and I'm sorry we're in a confined space together. But I also thought maybe I could take this moment to tell you that I do woodworking and I post videos on YouTube. So if after we get out of this elevator, you feel like you're missing me and my face and you want to see it again, you could go on YouTube and see it. And there's videos there where you could watch it. And anyways, I pressed the emergency stop so we'd have more time together. So now I can really get into this and kind of tell you. So I was born on a cold winter day in November. I remember the leaves were blushed to such severity it almost hurt my eyes to look at them. And
blushed.
Wow.
Came into this world. Not okay. Sorry, the firefighters are here, so I have to let you go. But I'm on YouTube and I do furniture. Boom, elevator pitch.
This is great. This is amazing.
Wow,
yes.
that's good.
Best elevator pitch we've
Best
ever
elevator
had.
pitch we've ever had. Yeah.
That's it. I have bourbon moth
that's the
woodworking. I'm on YouTube. I build things.
Only actual elevator pitch we've had. So I like
Yeah,
it.
but for real though, like if you don't know who Jason is, that's crazy. But Bourbon Moth YouTube, Bourbon Moth on Instagram, Shop Sounds, everywhere. I mean, I'm almost 100% certain everyone listening to this knows who Jason is. But so yeah, Spotify. And so, anyways, Pete, are you good?
Oh yeah.
Can we move forward now?
I know who he is.
I don't want to make you mad. No English.
Found Body has YouTube channel.
Right.
Also does woodworking.
I'm surprised you didn't work
Not
in
that
the
order.
Found a Body into your elevator pitch. Actually, that's like something you should probably
I'm a
work that in.
professional
Probably.
body founder.
He's like those guys who find water with the sticks.
Oh, yeah.
But with like decapitated bodies. What are they called? I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, what do you? It's the same thing.
Liars.
No, what do you got? What do you got going on, Jason? Liars. Yeah. Grifters.
So anyways, what's your body count?
It's called a divining rod, is what they're called.
Divining rod. That's
In case
it.
you wanted to
You're
know.
a divinist.
Yeah.
Divination.
Divinizer.
Divination.
What do I have going on? Woodworking related? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, what's
about?
on your bench this week, month?
Well,
are we doing the what's
exciting,
on our bench?
It's exciting.
Yeah, we're gonna do this.
We're doing
what's
this thing.
on my bench?
I finally got back in the shop after quite the hiatus. I've been building a tree house outdoors, doing construction, as they say. So I finally got back in the shop. I'm working on a whiskey cabinet right now.
Fitting.
And this all started because I was laying in bed one night and I had an idea for a cool panel for a cabinet door, but it's a little like fancy and ornate. And I was like, what could I do this in? So the whiskey cabinet is just an excuse to try and figure out this cabinet door panel thing that I had an idea for. So if you go on Instagram, I posted a little picture of kind of what I'm playing with today. It's basically a combination of oak and walnut, and I'm trying to do it all just on the drill press, which is the idea I had. So see if I can do it. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No CNC stuff, huh?
No, that's the funny thing is I have one of those, I don't have a CNC, but I have one of those fancy Shaper Origins sitting in a box under my workbench, and I could do this in 2 seconds with that probably. But I'm stubborn and I hate myself. So over to the drill press to drill a million holes and hand cut a bunch of pieces,
As one does.
God.
Yeah, as one does.
Godspeed.
That is better content.
Yeah,
it does make a lot of sense. I mean,
so that's kind of the way I approach it. Is anybody can, well, not anybody, but anyone has a CNC, or the second you use a CNC or a Shaper Origin, half your audience is like, okay, yeah, it must be nice, blah, you got fancy tools. So I try and do things in a way that other people can duplicate as much as possible.
It makes it more relatable.
Smart.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, smart.
So that's what I got going on. I'm planning 2 weeks to work on this, and I'll get 2 videos out of it, because I'm going to do one video on the whole cabinet and one video on just the panel and the doors. So it'll be a 2-parter.
Neat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Pete, what you got going on?
Oh, I wasn't ready. Go to Dan.
Go to Dan. Dan, what you got going on?
In unrelated woodworking news, I officially retired as a photographer this week.
Oh,
nice.
Right after that one photo went viral?
No, that's been a long time coming. I got several inquiries for weddings, and I just told them all no, and I was like, I gotta put the foot down on this. I just can't do it anymore. So put out a thing and said, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. So I'm 100% woodworker these days. Even though like nothing feels different. I mean, I've given all my energy to woodworking and my woodworking business over the past couple of years anyway. So it was about time. Aside from that, I've been working on a cherry bed. I think I've mentioned this in the past couple weeks.
Why do cherries need a bed?
I don't know.
Very tiny beds.
Yeah, they're tiny beds.
Epoxy. You just encased it in epoxy. Yeah. $17,000.
I gotta have somewhere to put my dead bodies. Yeah, I've been working on that. It's basically a carbon copy of a bed I've made in the past, so it's going a little easier than it did the first time.
Cherry.
Yeah.
It's a bold choice for somebody under 60.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Danny got derailed hard with that. Just slamming my lattes.
Well, you see, it's a client build, and that's what they requested.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That makes a lot of sense.
And I believe that they are somewhere in their 80s. So
see,
it all makes sense.
A lot of sense. Okay.
Taking their AARP money.
I believe so.
Okay.
And I like cherry. I think it's a great choice.
I
like
cherry.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend.
It tools really nicely.
Okay.
It does it. Well,
I like cherry too.
I don't. It
burns
tools
a bit,
but it burns very easily, so you got to be careful. But I do like the way it smells, and I do like the way it works. So I do enjoy it as a wood.
Yeah,
I don't enjoy it as a mud.
I built a cherry bench a while ago. It was nice.
Yeah, I enjoy cherry. I enjoy working with it. I enjoy all the offcuts more. I think I save them for my smoker and my grill.
Oh, yeah, I do it too.
Yeah, what kind of bozo wouldn't do that? Anyway, on top of that, Same old Etsy keeping me busy. I thought that my Etsy shop was going to slow down after the holidays, and that has not been the case, which I'm very grateful for. But now that it's just me in the shop and no extra help, it's been a bit of a challenge. And my back went out 3 days ago, so I've been kind of somewhat crippled. That's fun.
Back?
No, it didn't come back.
That explains the Quaaludes.
Yeah, I've been taking Quaaludes and Bush Lights for the pain, and it's not working. Anyway,
I watched this scientific documentary that said if you take Quaaludes and you fight through the urge to fall asleep, that you feel really good.
Really?
It was called Wolf of Wall Street. It was a documentary.
Yes.
Oh, yes. That's right.
On Discovery.
Yeah, I've seen that documentary as well. It's very good. It's one of my favorites. Pete, are you ready to go yet? Or should I toss it to Mike?
Let's go. No, I got it. So I've also been busy with Etsy. I've actually been busier since after Christmas than I was prior to Christmas, which is odd. Everyone got their money and they're like, I can finally afford what Pete makes. Cool. So I've been busy with Etsy, getting a lot of orders out. I'm in the process of getting another 3D printer. I waited just long enough to, everyone jumped on a hype train for that X1 Carbon that Ben Myers got. Dave from 3D DIY.
What is that a completely different brand?
It's a completely different brand. It's fully enclosed. So it has a
Talk to us like we don't know anything about 3D printers.
So this 3D printer can easily change between 4 different rolls of filament. So you can do multiple colors, multiple materials, and it's stupid fast compared to the other ones that I have. And I have really nice printers. And this thing, based on what I'm seeing, blows the one I have out of the water. And it comes with a full enclosure. And for the price point,
have the full enclosure, yeah.
Yeah, especially when it's not even dust. It's the fact that I can now print when I get this thing more caustic chemical blends of filament. So stuff that's more durable, but off gases like ABS, PC.
Have you ever noticed that the stuff that has more chemicals in it is usually better?
Yeah.
It holds up better the elements.
Yeah, science. Exactly. So I'll be able to print that because it's in my basement. So I don't really want to be printing that stuff on my open printers and then I get all sleepy while I'm eating dinner, and next thing I know, I'm in a hospital. So this way, I can.
You're in the field across the street from my house.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in a field. There's plenty of fields around where I live, so I don't want to do that. So I'm pretty excited about that, getting that, and what else? Oh, I've been working on those ice climbing tools. So I delivered just under half of them today, and I need to knock out the rest of them.
Wait, you're 3D printing ice climbing?
No, so I'm making these Baltic birch laminated with like a aluminum core center, and basically it's an ice climbing tool that's used for indoor training.
Nervous, like thinking that somebody's life could be in your hands?
Luckily, I'm just assembling and cleaning them up. This is someone else's patent and tool and everything, and I'm just putting it together, and that's why I got an LLC covering my butt. But I mean, that's the thing. So knocking that out, and I just want to get it done in the next 2 weeks because I'm really fired up.
How many more of those do you have? Because the reel you showed, it looked like you did 200.
So it's 300 parts that you assemble into 50 pairs. Because it's 200 of the plywood and then 100 of. So it's it's 100 pieces, but it's 50 pairs. So I delivered 20 pairs, so 40 pieces, and I got another 60 to do, 60 pieces. So some of them are they're in different stages of the process. I had Jake come in and help me out a little bit on last Saturday, so that was really great. I was able to get them out.
Farm?
Yeah, he's great. He wears khakis and everything, which is great for sawdust. Blends right in. So got that knocked out, and this is one of those jobs that it's decent money, and it's just a lot of labor. It's pretty much all labor, and it's messy. And when it gets all set up or all around the shop, I only have a 2-car garage. Nothing else can happen. Everything is taken up. Every surface is being used. So I'm excited to get these out of the shop because I have a bunch of projects lined up for the next couple of weeks. I'm kind of doing this little mini series of I reached out to the community and I said hey, I kind of fell out of enjoying woodworking because of my last shop. And then with this place, I've just been improving it and working on stuff that made money. I want to start doing some fun projects. What do you guys do when you're in the down in the dumps or you just need to reinvigorate yourself, which is actually one of our questions kind of. And I got a lot of really good responses. So I'm excited to do some fun projects, give me some ideas for things to try. And I'm excited to do that as soon as I get these things knocked out. Aside from that, I've just been busy with Etsy and trying to punch this year in the face. I'm trying to get a little more content out.
Okay, John Malecki.
Yeah, punch Day in the face. And that's what he sounds like, right? We still need to have him on.
Very close.
Yeah.
But that's basically it. I've just been trying to be a little more busy on the administrative side so I can actually, start making this content thing pay for itself. I'm starting to see some trickles and it's really exciting, but I need to stay on it so that it actually pays the bills.
You got a prostate problem.
Yeah, I gotta stay on it. So Mike, what about you and how's your prostate?
A prostate is fantastic. It's
Good
never
on
been
you.
better. I did a bunch of studies. So no, it was
Kegels are paying off.
I checked it for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Jason's very helpful with that stuff. You just
I
went on his what's that? It's bourbon moth woodworking and prostate exams. It's pretty wild.
Well, I had all those rubber gloves in my shop, and I was like, "How can I get a dual use out of these?" Oh, I know.
I think you shouldn't do woodworking first and then the prostate exams because those splinters are hard to get out. But it's fine.
Yeah.
You do you. No, it's no good. We've had a ton of rain down here in California. It's been crazy the last few weeks.
Where in California do you live?
I'm outside of Sacramento.
Oh, okay. Dude, I should have stopped and said hi to you. We're just down there.
Just saying. Jeez. Could have done another prostate exam.
I stopped
on the road. Those are your best
Sacramento.
ones. Ugh. That's the best of Sacramento, actually. No, we had a bunch of flooding. It was a lot of water craziness, but
yeah, I saw that in your stories, all the water that was going down your property.
Yeah, my neighbor, so we've got 5 acres, and then my neighbor above me has 10. He's got the whole hill up there, and a raccoon and its family died in the drainage culvert ditch and blocked the. This is the most Alabama story I've got in a long time. So, but my neighbor Jim, he's I don't know, 1.5 million years old. He calls me and he's like, "Hey Mike, we found a dead raccoon in the drainage ditch, and we're gonna pull it out now, and all the water is gonna start flowing down." And all the water was just coming down the hill, so much of it. So I got on my tractor and I had I put a berm out to the water was coming down so fast. I had to make a swale to keep the water from going into my yard and into my below my house. So got that taken care of. There's just a bunch of crazy storms over the last week. But we got in the shop, we got 20 of these coffee tables out for my client in Minneapolis. So those are done. Those shipped out today. And then we've got 100 shelves that are going out on Monday for them as well. And then stuff for myself this week. Oh, so we have this job we're doing for this super old hotel where we're doing 40 custom bar stools, big bar stool. It's a really exciting project. I'm really excited for this, but really beefy, really heavy, hardy. It's all going to be from Claro walnut that we're getting up in Chico up from here. So it's all Claro, the whole thing, top to bottom. And then it's going to have leather upholstered back on them. So the design is pretty much done. But what happened was the customer said, I would like a mid-century modern design, but they don't know what that meant. I think they had read it on Pinterest or something. So I shot them this design and they're like, that's not what we want. I was like, well, that's mid-century modern. So
mid-century mishap. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I designed this chair and this bar stool for them. And they're like, we don't want that. And I was like, well, that's fine. Because now I'm going to start making this chair as a mini production item and start offering them for myself. And I'm actually really excited about them. So one of my vendor partners is a fabrication house. They do metal fabrication for me. They do all my metal parts. They're Bidwell Wood and Iron up in Chico. And so we have I designed a bunch of hardware. I sent them the 3D models and they're cutting them all out on their lasers. So they're going to be here Monday, but we're cutting out a bunch of parts. We're doing an ash, a white oak, a black walnut, and a Claro walnut version of this chair and bar stool. So we're going to be working on those tomorrow after we do this big countertop install we have to do. But then today I'm tired because I've been up since 5. I got up this morning. I went and bought a new trailer. And then I went and picked up 2,000 board feet of English walnut from one of my vendors up north. So we have all this English walnut in because my customer who we build all the custom grounding boxes for just placed a huge order of custom grounding boxes, and we got to get them done by April for this big audio show in Chicago. So we got to get them all done. We got to get them all crated up. We got to get them all shipped out to Chicago by March or something like that. So, and I'm flying a lot over the next few weeks too. I'm gonna be out for Go to the East Coast. Then I got to go to this thing in February, and then March we got WorkbenchCon. So, and I want to have everything done like the week and a half after I get back from WorkbenchCon, so we get everything shipped out.
That's right around the corner.
Yeah. And then Peter has been here a couple times. My cinematographer's been here. We're really trying to get this YouTube channel finally going. So Peter's been here, and we did a video this week. It didn't do very well, which is a huge bummer because it was my favorite video that we've done so far.
I thought it was fantastic.
The table didn't do
well.
Liked
it.
It did really bad. You know what was really weird? I've never had this happen. Was we released the video and it was doing this. It was like the views were going like this, but then something happened and the views went backwards. So I'll just
tell the listeners, when he says doing this, he's pointing fingers upwards in an upward trajectory.
That's a good point. Yeah,
sounds like he
you
does
can understand
200 plus podcasts a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, the numbers were going up in a direction that is good.
Descriptive words. Good job.
Yeah, thank you so much. The numbers were good.
And then
they
which
weren't
direction
bad.
did they go?
And then they started good numbers, then they went bad numbers. The numbers were like going up.
Down.
Yeah. So the numbers were good, but then it was at like within a few hours, it was my best performing video, but then the numbers went backwards. I've never seen it do that in the studio. And then in the YouTube studio app, the numbers
take
were
your views
them away.
I'm imagining them just counting to zero.
Nope.
It went from like 2,000 to like 700, and on the youtube.com, you know how usually YouTube Studio has more views than youtube.com does, like it's because it's ahead of it.
Yeah,
they were behind youtube.com. It was the weirdest thing. I never experienced anything like that, and the video just hasn't recovered, which is a bummer because I really loved that video. It was a bummer, but anyway,
I blame Russia.
Yeah,
Baltic Birch,
Putin, man.
Yeah,
all this Putin attacks.
Give it time though. You never know when a video is just going to start popping off again.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We're 5 weeks into this thing with me and Peter. You know, Peter and I, it's just it's new.
Sounds
so we're
like
not.
The video just kind of petered out.
Oh man,
I knew that.
I can't wait to tell him that joke and act like I came up with it.
You haven't used it yet?
No,
it's a classic.
No, that's a good one though. I'm really disappointed in myself. That's solid. Yeah, we're just cranking out stuff. He's coming Saturday. We're filming a video Saturday and wrapping up 2 other ones. So we did this. I did this laptop stand, just a walnut laptop stand. Doing it initially, I was doing it with the domino, but I was like, I'm going to do this so everyone can do it. So we're going to do just splined miters for that. So
you're going to use a drill press for the whole thing?
Yeah.
What about people who can't do spline miters?
Everyone doesn't have a domino?
I mean, that's what I'm assuming. Maybe that's not true.
Weird.
I know it is weird.
Only the non-professionals.
I'm not gonna. I was gonna make a.
I'm a non-professional. I have a domino. Come on.
It's true. I mean,
that's trying to help you out.
Exception to the rule.
I mean,
we're the entire demographic here, and we cover all the fields. And if you don't have a domino,
don't say field in front of Jason.
I'm actually going to use my domino to make the spline cuts, so it's going to be really annoying. It's no, I'm just going to slap together a quick jig out of it and cut some splines, and I think that'll make it more accessible. So, actually, I did one already, and I liked how it looked more with the splines as well than I did. I with
like
the
splines. I think they look.
Yeah, they look great. Yeah. They had a lot, so it's going to be.
What about people who don't know how to make splines?
That's what my video is about. Learning how to make splines.
Everyone likes splines. If they say they don't like them, they're splying.
That was a stretch.
Wow, that was rough, Pete. God,
it's fine. I've been drinking. I can make these jokes.
No, you can't.
I don't even want to talk about my week anymore, Pete. After that, that's terrible. Oh, I bought a trailer. Did I say I bought a trailer today?
You did say that.
Who did you buy your trailer from? I'm just curious.
I bought it from this place up in like north of here by where I was picking up all this lumber. Just some random trailer.
Hobo in a McDonald's parking lot.
I bought a 20 foot. I bought a 20-foot 14K flatbed trailer. I need a flatbed trailer really bad for all this lumber and stuff we're going through and picking up now. So
the reason I ask is because we just drove from Oregon down to California, and I towed a trailer the whole way because we took all of our merchandise so that J. Katz Moses could do our distribution. Anyways,
yeah.
I get down there and we unload the entire trailer, and I told him, I was like, man, I'm really not looking forward to pulling this empty trailer all the way back to Oregon. It's gonna be bouncing all over the place. And he's like, oh, I'll buy it from you. And I was like, oh, that would actually be sweet. I'll just sell it to you and buy a new one when I get back home. But
nice.
You know, he's such a strict negotiator. We'd like talk me down. Anyways, I give him a great freaking deal.
I give him the trailer and I paid him.
I basically gave it away to him. And so it wouldn't surprise me at all if you were like, oh, I bought this great trailer from
Cat's
Jonathan
Moses
Katz.
was just selling.
Cat sold me this trailer for twice what you gave. Yeah.
That would have been
Damn
so
it.
great.
Damn it.
He even threw in some bourbon moth stuff.
Yeah, I got a bunch of bourbon moth videos. It was wild. No. Pete, what do you got going on?
Oh, I went. We all had
Oh, we
things
did?
going on. We did.
That's it.
Oh,
That's
crazy.
it's one of the quickest
All right.
what's on our benches ever.
Remember
Yeah, that
Pete
was
did
wild.
that really boring bit about
Oh,
3D
right.
printers?
Yeah.
3D printing and my brain shut
Yeah.
off. I
Yeah.
forgot.
It does every week. It's fine.
Pete, real question. Is that printer better than getting a Prusa? Because I kind of want to get one to make jigs in the shop. Oh, you don't have it yet, right?
I don't have it yet,
Oh, okay.
but it's double the a little less than double the cost, but
I
it's
don't care about the
$1,500 over. We'll see. I'll let you know. I'll report back.
Yeah, I'm finally gonna just get one for making little things in the shop, like fixtures and jigs and
I
stuff.
think the Prusa's still great.
You know,
but,
I
yeah.
always thought 3D printers were kind of a joke, but somebody just 3D printed me a tin whistle and sent it to me. I didn't even know you could do that, but I gotta
They
say,
3D printed it out of tin.
no, it's they call it a tin whistle because that's what they made it out. But the shape, it's like whatever plastic goopy crap
Yeah,
comes out of the
that's-
printers.
My entire business started around printing.
crap.
But it sounds pretty good for being 3D printed.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was pretty impressed.
One
Pete,
of the
how many
test
3D
files,
printers do you have now?
I now have 9, and I'm gonna have a 10th
Holy
one.
cow!
Literally, like that's the entire business started around one printer, and then it grew and grew and grew, and now that's the thing that brings in most of the money, and then woodworking's more
Did
fun.
you guys
again.
meet that guy at WorkbenchCon who 3D printed the penises?
Oh, balls.
Oh, Luke.
No, not just the balls. He did the whole penis.
Oh, that's a different guy then. Luke in the garage did the balls with zip ties, and he zipped them to a bunch of.
Well, that was Maker Camp.
Yeah, that
Was
was
it?
Maker Camp.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
Maker
the
Camp.
different guy. I
No,
did
there's a
not
bunch of
meet the
people-
guy that
Somebody
printed
did.
a penis.
They were mini penises, but they were valve stem covers.
Those were. I thought those were normal size. I was told those were normal.
iOS
To
will
some
system.
people. But I thought that was really funny. And he said it's kind of weird. Like when you think about it, you kind of think maybe this guy's a serial killer because he's like, oh yeah, I just always keep these in my pocket at the grocery store. I loved taking off people's valve stems and putting these penises on there.
That's such a long game. Holy smokes.
Well, I know. And at first I was like, that's hilarious. But the more you think
Yeah.
about it, the more it gets kind of creepy.
Just when you
Yeah.
think our hobbies are unique, this guy's got a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
different hobby.
That's nuts. All right, let's go to the
Ah.
question.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Let's.
good.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad about it too. I'm sorry. Let's go to the first question from Daniel Taylor here.
Okay.
Listen, if I talk too slow, one of y'all can tell me. Seriously. Anyways,
You
I'm sorry.
talk too
Born and
slow.
raised in Alabama. Anywho, I am so glad that you have Jason, the man, the moth, the legend, Hibbs, on the show tonight. So, I got one question for him in particular. Jason, why in God's creation have you not traveled to Kentucky to experience the Bourbon Trail? It is right down the road from your buddy Nick Key and myself. I'm not far away from it. Anyways, the serious question is, I've got a friend who asked me the other day at church if he could come over and just kind of see, what I do. He is a veteran and unfortunately suffers from PTSD, so he's kind of hoping that maybe getting involved in something like this will help his anxiety a little bit. So my question is, what weekend project would you make if you had somebody coming over to kind of show them woodworking? I don't have a lot of tools. I've got a table saw, I've got a joiner, I've got a planer, I've got a small 2x2 CNC. I mean, I make something. I was thinking of maybe, I like the table style that Dan did maybe a month or so ago with the curved 3 legs, round top. I kind of like that. I'm thinking that. Anyways, what would you make? Something quick, easy, just to kind of show them what's going on. And to answer your question last week, Mike, when you said you're not sure what I make sawdust. That's pretty much what the equivalent of it is, honestly. I make
Fair.
sawdust.
Daniel, it's pretty presumptuous of you to assume that Nick and Jason are friends, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Strictly business.
Yeah. I don't even like that guy.
Yeah.
All he does is make, guitars. He's a luthier and I'm a Baptist, so we don't get along. Yeah.
Gotta eat that joke so much.
I love it. So good.
What was that guy's name? I'm sorry.
Daniel
Taylor. The reason I haven't been to Kentucky is because it's humid and gross down there.
Word.
And they ship all that bourbon to Oregon, so
right.
They ship.
Modern technology, weird.
No, I would love to go down there and do the whole bourbon trail thing. It just hasn't happened yet. I'm sure I'll be down there sometime. I've been close. I've been to Tennessee and seen those distilleries. I just haven't crossed the border. I've been to Kentucky once, but just driving through. As far as your other question goes about what to build with your friend, there's definitely some things I wouldn't build. Let's start with those first. If he struggles with PTSD, there's obvious things to stay away from, like a reboot of the lawnmower tank. Maybe not a good idea. Or Jimmy DeResta did the AK-47 guitar. Probably not.
Wouldn't do that.
Also, not one-day builds.
Wouldn't do that. But just some quick stuff, anything. Get him in the shop, get him building stuff. Cutting boards are great because he can take it home with him. He's got something tangible. Anybody can make a cutting board. Little things like that. Jewelry boxes are really cool to make because they're a little more complicated, but still not hard. Cool. If he wants to do something bigger, I always tell everybody that wants to get into furniture making, coffee table is a great place to start. Because if you can build a coffee table, you can build a 12-foot dining room table. It's all the same principles, just shrunk down small. So anything like that. The most important thing is just get them in the shop, get them to start building and do it.
Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything Jason said, obviously. Daniel, you said it at the end of your question. You said you make sawdust. I think that's the important thing. Get your friend in the shop and make some sawdust with your friend. And he'll be hooked. I don't know who wouldn't be hooked making just sawdust and memories. I know that sounds cliche, but I think that's important. Just make some sawdust, make something. But Jason's right. Don't make a tank or a AK-47. I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, I was thinking, cutting board. Obviously, that's like the easiest thing in the world. It's so fun. It's got a lot of basics in there for
right?
Yeah, a fun one would be like one of those bottle openers. Those are fun and easy to make, those wall mounted bottle openers, things like that. But those have the basics in there. You need to learn how to mill. You need to learn how to use like the main tools, jointer, planer, table saw, stuff like that. So shows how to do a glue up, panel glue up, stuff like that. I think those are good options.
Like checkerboard, those are really easy to make and fun to make too. Similar to a cutting board, but cool.
Yep. Yeah, any sort of panel thing would be good like that, I think. I think that'd be really fun. And yeah, you guys could both make one and have matching ones and then go out camping and stuff or whatever. I don't know. Pete?
I would add to that list, try to avoid the brad nailer, any nail guns, no compressors. You don't want that thing going off and scaring anyone. But in all seriousness, I love this question because this is what I used to do when I taught at the woodworking school. And if you want it to be a one-day project and you really want to make an impact on him, you want him to walk away with a project, at least mostly finished in a day or in a weekend. Best way to do that is actually sit down, do a little bit of prep. I love like a nice little side table or a plant stand. If you throw in some half lap joints in there, some bridle joints, those always impress people because you just get different grain directions and you show how that all works. And you're able to set up a couple of jigs for the table saw and you maybe prep most of the wood on a joiner planer, you get it all ready, but then you run some of the other machines. So he actually runs a board that ends up in his project through every tool. You're going to make he's going to be hooked instantly. And when he walks out of there with at least two pieces that are somewhat ready, they just need some finish or whatever, he can come back the next day to get it done. It's going to make a huge impact on him. And I think you can, if you put in a little bit of prep, it's almost like setting up a class where most of the work is done, like the cooking shows where they're like, and we mix it and stick it in the oven and we have one that's done and they slap it on the table and it's finished. Kind of like that, where some of the pieces are already pre-cut, plain, whatever.
Prep
and you guys
work.
can do some prep work.
But I would also recommend, like, if you bring somebody into your shop like that who's never done woodworking and your goal is to get them hooked on woodworking, it's smart that throughout the project, you kind of start to develop a story that you tell them while you're doing the project. And it's usually something along the lines of like, man, it's really cool that we're building this project together because I actually committed a crime. And there's been a court order that after this project, I'm not allowed to use any of my tools for 5 years. And the reason you want to do this is because once you get them hooked, well, they don't have their own tools. So they're going to be knocking at your door every other day asking to borrow your tools.
Hey, you got any tools in there?
So you want to get them hooked, but you also want to set up a believable story so that they don't keep asking to borrow your tools after that point. And something like that is just helpful because then you got them hooked, but they'll go somewhere else. They don't borrow your stuff all the time because that can be annoying, you know?
Yeah.
Did you hear about that body they found in the field next to my house? Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Borrowed my tools one too many times. There's a domino-shaped hole in his head.
A number 14.
It's the biggest one. Yeah, looks like a 700.
Yeah, it's another
All
DF 700. The next one's from Josh Friedrich.
Hey guys, what's going on? So I got 2 questions here. The first one is more towards Jason, but if you can relate or give input for your own self, chime in. So Jason, you obviously have a lot of huge videos out there on YouTube. Neil Patrick Harris, the tank, the boat, just for a few examples. Do you feel added pressure every time you release a video to live up to prior videos' hypes? How do you go about releasing stuff? Do you just don't care if it does as good as prior videos, or do you stress a lot about that? Hopefully that makes some sense. The other question I got is just for all you. How do you guys go about indecisive clients? I really have been dealing with a lot of clients that just, when I ask them what they want the wood made of or what they want their product made of or finished with or whatever, they just say, I'll leave it up to you. I don't care, stuff like that. So how do you guys navigate through the world of indecisive clients who don't give you a direct answer? Looking forward to hearing the answers, guys. So thanks for listening, for talking, responding. Yep.
Jason, pressure to live up to your own numbers.
No, I feel zero pressure at all. Here's the funny thing with me and YouTube is I got on YouTube because I was bored during the lockdown. I did not get on YouTube to try and become a YouTuber. I'm really glad that happened. It's been awesome, but it was just, I couldn't do client work because we're all in lockdown and I can't sit still. And I think that really changed my attitude towards the whole thing because I went into it with zero expectations and I was simply just posting what I was doing in the shop. And that's still kind of the way that I look at it. To be completely honest, if you were to ask, like, what's my main motivation in my videos since I started, it's my wife and the things that she wants me to do in our house are like 90% of my videos. And I'm not once have I been like, well, I know you want that, honey, but that's not going to perform well with the algorithm and, you know, this and that.
But make it perform.
Whatever I'm building is a video. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But I look at so many other YouTubers and content creators who are obviously just chasing down the next viral video. It's very obvious that that's what is driving their content. And that looks absolutely miserable to me because I don't want to do something just because I think it's going to be viral. I want to do stuff that I actually want to do. And so if YouTube ever becomes this thing where I'm not enjoying what I'm doing just because I'm trying to like be the next big thing or impress people, well, I just don't really want to do that. So no, I don't.
It's so great you say that because like the results speak for themselves. You're one of the biggest woodworking channels out there. Wow. And you did it the way you wanted to do it. You just had fun with it. And you said your wife motivated you to do it. That's awesome because you didn't follow like a formula. You didn't try to figure it out. It's just like, yeah, I did the things that I wanted to do. I was genuine and I actually clearly paid off.
Yeah, and I think genuine is the right word, right? Is people can see through the fakeness when you do a video and they can tell when you're just trying to have a viral video. I won't name any names, but there's some woodworking channels out there where they're just putting out garbage because they think it's going to hit well. but you watch the videos and it just doesn't play off well. As long as you're genuine to yourself, you're not trying to be somebody else. So many people ask me like, hey man, what's the trick? What's the key to having a successful channel? And I don't know how to answer that for you as an individual, because you're a different person than me. And if you try and change yourself to be something that you think is going to do well, you're not going to be genuine on your channel. But if you're genuine to who you are, there's a lot of other people that are going to relate to you because they're similar to who you are. And I think that's the key, is just be yourself.
Yeah. I think I think the most successful channels will utter the same thing too. Like, just people will relate to someone being a human being because we're all human beings. So super good advice. Super good advice.
Well, I mean, you take it a step further and you look at anyone who has to perform for a living, which I feel like all those people that are trying real hard to be somebody they're not are like performing. And a lot of those people, like comedians is the best example. A lot of professional comedians really struggle with depression. And you see that throughout history. I mean, like, look at Robin Williams. And the problem is, it's because they're always trying to perform. They have to put on this act for somebody else. That's not a fun space to live in. Always trying to like impress other people and perform for other people. Eventually, you're just going to hate life. So if you can figure out a way to just be exactly who you are and be genuine, I mean, it's just the easiest way to to do content, and you'll be way happier.
You're living for other people. You never end up living for yourself, and you just never find joy out of stuff. It's just not worth doing. And he asked us our opinions on that. Obviously, probably moot because our channels are just not huge. I think we're all just kind of putting out content, doing our thing. But I mean, I'll answer and say that I don't have that stress because I just don't have a channel that has big views like that. So, but also I'm confident that I won't. Everything feels like it's like you got lightning in a bottle sometimes with some of these things that just go huge. Obviously, Jason, you're having high view video after high view video, which is awesome because of the reason you said. You're being genuine. I feel like you can't. I feel like the people who are trying to put on the show, like you were just talking about, the channels where they're putting on a show, they are probably always stressing about if their video is going to perform as well as that one video that did really well. And it just doesn't sound enjoyable. Like they're living. I don't think they're living. They're doing the whole thing for someone else.
Well, and the nice thing is I'm almost at 1 million subscribers, and I'm super blessed by that. And I'm very humbled by that. It's crazy to me that many people want to, follow along with this. It's awesome. But the cool thing about that is, in all those subscribers, I feel like I have very loyal subscribers. Where you look at other channels, some of these really big channels, they're way bigger than me, well over 1 million subscribers. And they'll put out video after video that gets like 25, 30,000 views. And then every once in a while, they'll have one that's over 1 million.
Right.
But if you look at my channel, I don't have a lot of videos over 1 million views. It's few and far between. What I do have is pretty much guaranteed at this point. If I put out a video, it's going to be 150 to 200,000 views. But those are 150 to 200,000 very loyal subscribers that are genuinely
is key.
Yeah, they're interested in who I am, and they see that it's genuine. And I would much rather have consistency across the board than these giant spikes of like every time I just happen to fumble on the right, combination of things.
That high feels good, but the come down doesn't feel so good. It's like when you take that bump of whatever drug you're on.
Yeah.
Quaaludes.
The Quaaludes. The come down doesn't feel so good,
I mean, if I was just doing it to try and get views, every one of my videos would be pouring epoxy into walnut. But I'm not going to.
Hold on, let me write this down.
Pouring epoxy walnut.
So are you telling me cherry beds aren't good?
Yeah, you should pour some epoxy into that thing.
I will.
Zhuzh it up a bit.
Yeah.
So wait.
Walnut
what about
powder in cherry epoxy?
There you go. So what about the second question he had? Because you do some client builds as well, right? So like
not anymore though.
But you've done them in the past.
Done a lot, yeah. I mean, that's what I used to do exclusively. Yeah.
How do you deal with indecisive, or how did you deal with indecisive clients that might keep coming back at you to make changes? How do you handle that? Or brands. You can do that too, since you're dealing with brands now.
Well, I mean, if you look at it from a brand lens, if I did like a sponsor spot in a YouTube video, it's in the contract that I will do the ad for them, send it off for approval, and they have 2 chances to change things in it. And that's it. And I did the same thing when I did client work, is I would send them a design and then I would give them a limit to how many times they can correct things. And if we couldn't get it resolved in those 2 times, I would say, well, I'm going to move on, which seems harsh, but you're going to run into those clients that they just want to nitpick every little thing, and they're going to suck up so much of your time that you're not going to be able to focus on anything else. And it's best just to move on and find somebody else.
I like that.
Yep. Yeah. 100% true. I'm not the right guy for the job. Find the one who is.
Absolutely.
Do you guys want to answer that as well?
Yeah, I would just echo whatever Jason said. Basically, get everything in writing. Make sure everything is in writing. That way, you're all on the same page in the beginning. But like you said, and I need to be better at that. If you can't knock it out, maybe it's best to part ways.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's okay to say like, hey, I'm really good at building stuff, but I'm not a designer. I'm not going to make these decisions for you.
It's a good way to put it too.
Right.
Be upfront about
it's 2 different jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want that responsibility either. I don't want to be the one that made the decision for them and for it to be built and them to be like, I don't like that. And then know that I was the one that like pressured them into making that decision. Mm-hmm. The best clients are the ones that know exactly what they want, or the ones that are just so thrilled with your work that you could, do
literally
anything.
Make me anything you want.
Yeah. And they're going to love it.
Mm-hmm. Here's money.
He mentioned that in the question, customers that say you make all the decisions. I love that because then I get to build whatever I want. That's like the best situation. But for me, when a client,
of the customer that says that and doesn't,
right?
I was just going to say that.
Right.
So we want to clarify your end of it.
Yeah.
Right.
I've run into clients like that where they say, we love everything you do. You have full creative control. And then once you start, they're like, well, maybe not that. And they start nitpicking. And it's like, ugh. I had clients like that. And I did part ways with them.
That's where, CAD comes in helpful. You can make a rendering of what your idea is. Cause I make a rendering of everything anyway. Cause I like to run off cut sheets, especially with people, or with my employees. But, I can send them a render of what my brain is seeing. When that's the case. But yeah, typically if there's a designer involved, it takes all that. That is literally another job. And if you're not charging for that time, you're not, if you want to do the design work, you need to charge for that design work. So you need to tell them like, hey, I'll charge you for this, but it's going to be at this rate. And you need to determine what that is, but you need to charge for that because that is a job. They don't get that for free as part of the furniture. So anyway, the next question is from,
go ahead.
Good.
Oh, I was just going to say, typically when I would do design for people, I would charge a design fee. They would get 1 or 2 edits, and then they would pay a deposit for the piece after the design was decided.
Right. It's completely separate.
And so if I did the design and we went through those 1 or 2 edits and they didn't like it, well, I already got paid the design fee. So I wasn't just out all of that time. And if I walked away, I still made some money. But the other thing I was going to say, the thing that really changed my woodworking business when I was doing client work is when I started working pretty much exclusively with interior designers. Because the really nice thing there is they're doing all of the dealing with the client. I never dealt with the client directly at that point. They did everything. And by the time they came to me, the design was already finalized. And it was just like, here's what we want you to build. And I built it.
They just needed to make it a reality.
Yeah, there was no back and forth with clients. And also the nice thing with interior designers is normally if you're hiring an interior designer, you have a budget that's a little bit higher than your normal, average Joe. So my prices went up and all that. So if you could find some local interior designers and kind of put a portfolio together and share that with them and start getting stuff directly from designers, it takes out the clients completely, which is really nice.
Excellent piece of advice.
Yep. Solid. The next one is from Braden at Little Bug.
Hey guys, it's Braden with Little Bug. My question tonight is if you had to pick between fighting a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses, which would you pick? And then when you're done fighting whichever you pick, if you had to make a suggestion on a step-up sander from a DeWalt cheap random orbital sander, what would you pick? Is it Festool? Is it Mirka? Is it something else? Which Festool model? It's a little overwhelming how many options there are. So I just think I'm ready for a step up model, and I'd appreciate your guys' insight. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
You too.
Dan, what about the horses and ponies or whatever he said? Ducks or something?
Horses and ducks.
Don't answer that. Let's move on.
I would fight the rabbits.
What about Sanders?
Sanders, I like my Mirka, but I've actually been thinking about getting the Festool, the comparable Festool. What is that? The
ETSCC.
Yeah. Just because I'd like to have another sander in the shop, because eventually I am going to have an employee and I'm going to need more than one sander.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, as much as I like my Mirka, and we have been sponsored by Mirka in the past, but I think maybe Festool might be a better, it might hold up better in the long run.
I will speak to that. My Daros is falling apart again for the third time now. And
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's so
Mike,
frustrating.
Mike, go ahead and what do you think about this?
Hey, Mike, what are your thoughts on the Sanders?
It's just like on what?
On the Sanders.
On the Ducks.
Oh,
The ducks.
it's just like they're still blaming like COVID supply chain issues on not being able to fix these things fast enough. And it's like, come on,
it's a real bummer.
This isn't a thing anymore. Like, come on. And it's the same thing. It's the same problem. The power cord keeps getting loose. They have to redo the power cord attachment. So I have Daros and I have a few of the Festool ETSCCs because I got a few employees, and the Festool has no problems. It is a great sander, and it's $100 cheaper, and it is just as good. It's just as good. I will say that the Mirka it has a little better form factor and it's a little lighter. But ultimately, as far as tools goes, I think in my shop that the ETSCC is a better sander than the Daros. So that's my opinion as a woodworker.
My the port where you hook up the dust collection on it keeps falling off, and I haven't even bothered to reach out to Mirka just because of all the stories I've heard of people having problems with their customer service. So I'm just gonna get a Festool. I really am.
Yep.
Sorry. Go on,
Jason.
I have the Festool ETS EC. Well, to be fair, I have all the Festool sanders. And there's definitely some Festool sanders you don't want. The ETS like 125s are garbage.
Trash sander.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, a lot of people buy those because you get online, it's the cheapest one. You're like, I can get a Festool sander for $150. Sweet, but it's
basically a DeWalt.
Basically an electric toothbrush with sandpaper on it is what it's like. It's nothing. But yeah, the ETS EC is great. I love that sander. I've never used the Mirka, but I'll tell you what, I was down at JCat's shop and he carries 3M sandpaper on his website, and 3M just came out with a sander that is very comparable to what I think, I've seen from the Mirka. It's got the paddle switch on the top and everything.
It's
kind of like, it's halfway between the Mirka and the Festool. And I used that when I was down there and it seemed to work great. I'm not sure I love the paddle switch on the top because I don't know if it's like this in the Mirka, but with the 3M one, it's only on when you're like holding that paddle switch down.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
That's how the Mirka is. Yeah.
Which I don't like, and it takes a while to stop. The thing I love about the Festool is it stops really quick. So it's like when you're sanding and then you want to immediately set it on your workbench, you don't want to wait for the thing to wind down for like 30 seconds before you can set it down, which I like about the Festool. So price wise, given all the options, I would say the Festool would be the one I'd go with.
Pete?
Very nice, Pete.
I agree with what you guys said. I'm not gonna sell my Mirka because it has its place because it is so light.
Oh, I'm definitely not selling mine.
Yeah, but I also like that I can swap the head. I've been putting the 5-inch or the 6-inch on it, depending on what I'm doing, depending on what paper I have.
That's nice.
But that being said, I do want to get into the Festool line just because there's a lot more choices, and the ETSEC is one of the ones that I was looking at. Honestly, what I would say is, like, for a while, the next step up from like those basic DeWalt, all the brands have that basic sub $100 sander. The one step up, the cheapest option for a while was that Bosch, and I'm forgetting the model number.
The
which had,
Brotex.
It's like the Bosch Rotex. Yeah, basically. Essentially, once you get to that price point and higher, that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, I just want to stop real quick because I feel bad. The Brotex was a joke that I stole from Nick Key. He's another member of his Shop Sounds podcast, available at Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
I'll look it up.
Okay. Yeah. Just want to give him credit.
Subtle.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything in the $300 and up range is what you're looking at. And you're probably going to be not disappointed with the results. It's going to be way better than what you were previously using.
For sure.
Yeah. So, and honestly, if you're already in the 300, something in a $400, like the ETSCC is like 450 something.
575.
I'll also say this is I don't use my
I'm looking at it right now.
ETS as my like main sander. I use it as my finish sander. So I usually start with the Rotex because it's way more aggressive and it goes a lot quicker. And then I'll do like my finish sanding with the ETS. And so it's hard because if you're looking for a standalone one-use sander, before I had the ETS, I would use the Rotex for finish sanding and in the Rotex mode. And honestly, it works great. It's just heavy is the only downside.
Yeah.
It's just a big old sander.
And if you like the Mirka one, Mirka's biggest drawback is the price. And Jason said, that their 3M has a version of it. I think Surf Prep or some other.
How much is the Mirka one?
It's like 6 something.
Yeah, I mean the 3M one's the
660.
Oh, is it about
6 something?
Yeah, so there's that. 3M has a clone. I want to say Surf Prep, but there's another company out there that has a clone of it as well. And they look like the same sander, but then again, I'm not gonna speak to the quality of it.
Let's be honest. The 3M and the Mirka are probably made in the exact same factory with the exact same
100%.
And when it works,
they look
the
it's
3M
great.
Mirka.
But if you can't get it serviced, that's kind of a problem. You know, mine, luckily, knock on wood, has not broken, so I'm very happy about that. And I use it all the time, but I'm dreading the day that something goes wrong on it.
You
know?
Well, just do what I do. Buy a new one.
Oh yeah, fair. Yeah. Let me write that down.
The next question is from Michael Lido's Workshop. Here we go.
Hey, what's up, guys? Mike from Lido's Woodshop calling in. Just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you guys all three kill it this year. Pete, hopefully your torture of those climbing instruments is done soon. And Mike, prayers on those storms, man. They're pretty crazy times. My question is for Jason. Jason, your creative ability in the way that you take an idea out of your head and turn that into A, project, and B, into content. What's your creative process look like how do you come up with your ideas? Do you sit at your table at home and jot down the idea and go through it, or does it just come to your head and do it? I'll be looking forward to hearing Nick Key next week. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Jason, tell us how you make YouTube videos so we can all do it.
Okay.
He already said it. It's his wife. He just listens to his wife.
My videos are 50-50, right? Well, I said 90% earlier, so I'm already changing percentages.
90-50.
Yeah. A lot of them come from like things that we have to build around the house that I've been putting off for a long time that I never got to when I did client work. Because after doing client work all week, the weekend would roll around. I didn't want to work at my own house. But then I started doing YouTube and I was like, oh, I could just make videos on this. So stuff started getting done. So a lot of it comes from just like things my wife wants in the house. And then the other part of it is usually things that I never had time for doing client work because I was doing what the clients wanted, but just weird ideas I had that I wondered, if this would work, or, very experimental stuff. And the way I come up with that is I'm very ADD, and I'm also pretty much, I have an insomnia. And so I have a really hard time sleeping. So I lay in bed at night and I just kind of build things in my mind or play with different things. And the cool thing about YouTube is you can express that in a video. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's the video. And so a lot of my ideas just come from like weird ideas I've had. Like when Eric Curtis was out at my shop, I had that weird idea to make a like lathe with a router and a crank that like pulls the router along, which didn't work if you watch the video. Well, it didn't work well, I'll say that. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of daydream and come up with things. This project I'm doing right now for this whiskey cabinet was exactly that. I was laying in bed just wondering if this whole drill press lattice work door front would work, and I spent all day today trying to make it work, and I'm still not sure if it will.
Interesting. Lay in bed.
Lay in bed and bourbon.
bed.
Don't sleep.
Into the bottle
Don't
earlier.
sleep. Drink bourbon.
Drink bourbon.
And don't sleep. I'm either laying in bed or I have a lot of ideas in the shower. My wife makes fun of me because before I was doing woodworking, she'd come into the bathroom. I'd be standing there, shower, staring out them like into space, and she'd be like, "What are you doing?" And before, I'd always be pretending that I was bounty hunter.
Sea captain.
And I was a bounty hunter, and I was on a stakeout in the pouring down rain, and I couldn't move because I had to standing there in the shower. But since I started doing woodworking, I've stopped thinking about that, and now I just stand in the shower and think about.
I'm a cutting board. I'm being water
projects.
popped.
Yeah. So a lot of ideas come from the shower. So
Huh. I mean, it's not the worst idea. I thought of some crazy
Get
stuff.
some
for the
shirts
shower.
made.
Bourbon moth shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts. Yeah, exactly.
I prepared all this food in the shower.
Let's oh god.
Seinfeld references land a lot better on my Shop Sounds podcast.
No, I got it. That's
Okay.
a Kramer reference.
The cast is a lot older.
All right.
The cast is a lot of
That's true. I am the youngest one on that
demographic.
podcast.
Let's listen to Malcolm's question here.
Hey guys, this is Malcolm at Boston Nova Woodworks, and my question this week is about WorkbenchCon. I'm thinking about attending, but I am still a little bit on the fence. I don't really consider myself a content creator, but I am interested in learning more about building a maker business. So, cost aside, would you still recommend this conference for people that aren't content creators? Thanks. Oh, and Daniel, I did appreciate your little attempt at a Malcolm in the Middle joke last week, but I've never really been in the middle of anything. Unless your mom counts.
Damn.
Oh,
It's brutal.
Damn.
Wow.
Thank you, Malcolm. Can I go first?
Yeah, please. Dan.
Oh, Malcolm. Malcolm. Thanks for calling.
Malcolm.
Michael.
No, I appreciate the joke. I really do. Yeah, definitely go. If you not a big time content creator, absolutely. That's one of the reasons you should go. I mean, Mike and I both went in 2020 before we were quote unquote bigger on Instagram or any social media platform. And I think it benefited us both very well. And I think Mike can speak to that. I'm going to pass it to him pretty soon. You get a lot out of it. Not only do you get the classes, but you get the networking and in-person interactions with all the people you probably follow already. I mean, we're all humans. None of us are big giant rock stars. You can come up and talk to anybody, and it's just a really great time.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, would you not agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's if you're trying to get into content, that's basically
My
all
mom
that's
will
being
be there
talked-
too. So
Yeah, so you're pretty much good.
I'll get
I
in
mean-
the middle of that.
Dorothy Dunlap. is a
Hibbs in
saint.
the middle. No, I think that basically all that's talked about at that event is content, which frankly is exhausting. It's like exhausting going to that event and like that's all that's talked about. But it is a good place to learn about content, and there's a lot of good opportunity to pick up what other people have learned, and you kind of get a crash course in a lot of these things. I think also there is some important classes that happen there if you're trying to build your business as a woodworker too. I mean, I know for me, when I went there, I took Katz's class, and his class, I've said it on the show before, literally the reason I made a big investment into a CNC to help automation in my business. So that was a huge tipping point for my business at the time, was going to WorkbenchCon. And for me, it was grow the furniture business and get into content. Well, the furniture business sort of took over all my time, but everything that I learned from WorkbenchCon helped me to be able to grow into content and take my platform wherever I could with it. So now I'm able to actually finally get back into that again, and it's really exciting. So I'm excited to go back to WorkbenchCon and kind of talk about that stuff with everyone again. So I would say if you're trying to do that, yes, the answer is yes. It's a good place to get a crash course and all that.
and you can get $50 off if you use code AWP.
Yeah, that's right. Good point.
Mhm.
That's a great plug there, Dunlap.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And we've
Can I
confirmed
go?
that.
Can I go next?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's gonna
Depends
give
on
the
the
I would
shop
like to
sounds
say
plug.
that our podcast Shop Sounds available on Apple and Spotify. Also has a coupon code. It's Shop Sounds. You get $50 off.
You get $51 off if you use AWP. I'll give you an extra $1.
You get $50 off, and I'll give you $1 in person at WorkbenchCon. How about that?
Oh,
No, but to echo everybody else, I would say definitely go. Here's the thing. Even if you're not going for the classes, take the conference out of it. Okay. Take the classes out of it. Take all that out of it. Take the conference, what you're paying, and just look at the non-conference part of it, which is most of it. I mean, you guys will agree.
Yeah.
Aside from the classes,
everything's done at that bar.
Most of the conference is in the lobby of the hotel with everybody just hanging out.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody who's there who is a content creator in the maker space at one point or time was running a building business or doing some sort of thing there. So there's no better pool of knowledge than the group of people that's there. And from my experience, everybody's pretty welcoming and pretty open to conversation. Very rarely you're going to find the person that's like too big to talk to you or whatever. So even if you don't look at the class list and say, oh, this is all for content creation, it's not for me, just the like one-on-one conversations you'll have with people, I think will be worth your time. So I would say go, enjoy.
100%.
Yeah. I that's like really solid advice, but I'm gonna throw it to Pete because I don't want to reiterate that again, but I mean, just being at that bar is so important. Like so important.
Definitely.
It's really important.
Like I 100% agree. It's worth it just because you get a lot of hype from the people, the high energy people that are around you. You get so many people that are just killing it in the space. No matter what you're into, you just get that energy. And all you want to do is just get back in your shop or to your business or whatever and just kill it.
I'm never more invigorated to get back into my shop than when I get back from WorkbenchCon. Yeah.
Now that being
it
said,
lasts about 2 days, but
the ticket is hard to swallow. Made easier with the code AWP for $50 off, but it is a hard, amount to swallow. Last year, we actually had Kamani happened to be in town the same week visiting family. He just came and hung out at the bar and whatnot.
Yeah, there's a
with
lot
us.
of people that do that. Yeah.
And let's just say last year, and I can't speak to this year, last year security was lax. So we went into the event. He talked to
you guys are going to get in so much trouble.
Oh,
I'm
we're so
gonna
in trouble.
I'm going to tell.
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
I'll edit this out.
Yeah. But the thing is, most of the conversation, most of the conversations were at the bar, at dinner, hanging out outside the event. The classes were great and all that, but really, I got 90% of my memories from the event were from experiences outside of that hall.
Yeah.
Actually talking to people genuinely, not in a class.
And another
setting,
helpful
really
tip,
one-on-one.
if you're worried about the cost of the event, is whatever, pay for the event, give them their money. But if you want to save money, if you go down to the bar and you just charge all your drinks to Craig Cohen's room, that's what I did last year, the Barefoot Forge. I don't know him super well, but I charged every single drink I had the entire time to his room.
That's good. That's good advice right there.
I mean,
like
pro tip right there.
So just that name, remember it when you get there. Charge him to his room.
But here's the thing: I'm gonna just say, it is worth getting to the ticket, because if you're gonna pay for a flight and you're gonna pay for a room to stay for 4 days, 3 days, whatever, you might as well just pay for that. It's not, you're not really tipping the scales by not getting the ticket to the event, and then you're not having
the
to worry
classes.
about it.
They do have, I would say it's 70% content creation, 30% just woodworking business. So there
you
are
get
classes.
psyched, you get inspired, you see
your
dare I say, you see your heroes talk about all this stuff, and it really is inspiring. Like Mike mentioned, Katz Moses' class, his class last year pivoted my perspective on a lot of stuff.
I can tell you from personal experience, that guy's a phony.
Yeah, he'll make you pay for your own trailer when you're selling it to him.
Look, bottom line is, don't look at this as an expense or something you have to spend money on. It's an investment in your business.
Also, you have a business. You're allowed to spend that money on something that makes you grow as a person and potentially moves your business forward. Have your business pay for it. That's a valid business expense, I think.
Yep. Tax write-off. Boom.
Absolutely.
Alcohol, tax write-off.
Yeah,
Boom.
it's just a bunch of appetizers. Yeah. These guys got $600 worth of appetizers.
Tax write-off.
All right.
This next question is, well, I mean, should I just read Tomas' question, or do we want to move to the next four?
Play it, because that'll give me 2 minutes to go pee, and then I'll be back.
All right,
before
cool,
it's
cool,
done.
cool. All right,
play
that'll
the
give you
question.
3
Ready?
to 4 minutes to go pee. Go ahead and go.
American minutes.
French.
Hey guys, guess what? I'm back! I dragged myself from the stale swamp of illness and I've risen from the dead just in time for one of my top 5 YouTubers, and nobody can stop. I still remember first finding Jason's channel, and it was way before the tank contraception. I think it was a round table built or something. Anyway, time for questions. I know, Mike, it feels like it's already too long, and that's probably what Dan's client thought while they were waiting for the quarter-sawn white oak potato chip, but they're pretty happy now, right? Alright, sorry, I probably should not take the codeine the doc gave me anymore. The first question is easy. We all know that Jason's favorite wood is white oak, so I won't ask that. But instead, what is your current Rubio mix to spread on that oak? Next, have you a project that you are especially excited for 2023? Can I suggest you one? I'd like, I wish, I hope, I even say pray for a Bourbon Moss, Blacktail Studio and Jackman Work collab. Why, you ask? Well, you guys will make the perfect trio. Hear me out. You hate epoxy tables, but Cam loves them, but also both of you like nice high-end furniture. Then, you also hate palette, as does Cam, I'm sure, but Paul loves them. Also, Paul and you have something in common. You both like crazy funny project, while Cam makes tables, mostly. Can you see it? It's almost like a Shifumi combination, and the best part is that there is something that links all three of you. You are all funny guys and you know how to transmit it through video. This sounds something like the Three Musketeers to me or something. Alright, that's it for me. Find me at tsg.mex on Insta, YouTube, TikTok, Etsy, and even Grindr when I'm feeling curious. Have a great podcast, guys. Bye.
What is Grindr?
It's less than 2 minutes 30, and that is what my wife will say after our nuptial night.
Yeah, anyways, use TSG makes for 20 euros off of your WorkbenchCon ticket.
Grindr, in case you're wondering, is not Arbortech's website.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I thought it was. I went on there. I still thought it was.
I kept swiping.
Got a bunch of free drinks.
A lot of money ordering stuff, and I tell you, Grinders did not show up. Well, they did, but it was different. Anyway, I won't get into that.
Right.
There's a dead body across my
Apparently,
street.
I'm a bear.
Now there's a dead body in your property.
All right. From what I could understand,
I got it right here. Let me.
Please try.
Oh, yeah, please.
I'm just gonna read it. It's gonna say, for Jason, you like white oak. What is your favorite Rubio mix on white oak?
I keep going back and forth. For a long time, it was cotton white. I put cotton white on like all white oak stuff because, in my opinion, it left it looking the most natural, just like you didn't do anything to it.
Right.
But lately, I've been using a lot of Mud Light, which gives it a little more warmth.
Mud Light? I didn't
Yeah,
see that one.
I like it. I don't know.
What's your favorite on red oak?
Fires.
Yeah.
Everyone's got the same opinion. I love it.
Yeah. Garbage. And then he proposed you and Cam and Paul Jackman doing a video together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he has a question for that.
Oh, he did. Well,
did he?
what project is he most excited about this year? Is there
This
something
year?
that works?
Yeah.
This year, so the thing I'm really excited about this year is, man, I'm trying to remember if it was a year ago or 2 years ago. My wife was searching on Craigslist and she found a 1963 Airstream. And she told me to go buy it. And I drove all the way up to Seattle. I got there and I called her and I was like, you don't want me to buy this. This thing's a piece of shit. Pardon my language. And she's like, no, buy it. Like, I've seen Pinterest. We can fix this thing.
Oh,
and I was
God.
like, okay. So I hooked it up to my trailer, drove the 4 hours back home. In the, towing it home, the door flew open and broke in half. The window fell out in the middle of the interstate. I got pulled over. Luckily, okay, funny story. I never get recognized. Like, very rarely do people recognize me from YouTube. But the cop that pulled me over that one time was a subscriber and didn't write me a ticket. Like, the one time you want to be
It finally paid off.
Yeah,
It finally
right.
paid off after all these years.
Anyways, I got this thing home finally 4 hours later. It's falling apart. And I'm like, there's no way. I'm a woodworker. I don't know how to like work with aluminum, all this stuff. Long story short, I found a company 2 hours away from us that all they do is fix up Airstreams. So I gave it to them. And they do them start to finish. So they do everything and the interiors. But I was basically like, hey, could you just do everything except the interior? And then I can build out all the cabinets and the furniture and everything there. But they were way backed up. I finally got on their list and they started working on it a few months ago. So I should get the Airstream back in February, maybe early March. And it'll be completely ready to go. Water, electrical, new trailer, new axles, new wheels, everything, except it'll just be completely empty. Just
how do you know they didn't just buy you a new one and switch it out?
Hey, if they did that, that's fine with me.
That's fine.
As long as it's ready to go, So I should get that back in February, March, and then that'll be a ton of fun to build out the whole inside.
That sounds awesome.
Oh, that's gonna be so
That'd
fun.
be so fun.
Yeah, just the fun part, not any of the headache with all the other garbage.
Yeah, the mechanical stuff.
Yeah.
Screw that.
So I'm excited.
That sounds
about
like
that.
an awesome project.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Sick. Yeah, you didn't really have a question about the Cam, Paul, Jason thing. I think
that was more of a suggestion.
More of a wet dream.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a terrible suggestion.
No, I see it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I mean,
anything's a
collaborations.
Cam literally
I'm gonna
lives
ask.
less than an hour from me. His parents actually live
Really?
right down the street from me, so he comes up here all the time.
Do they know about the body
kid-
situation?
I mean, to see his parents. He never stops and sees me.
Oh,
Right.
he actually doesn't follow me.
Right. Dan, are you excited about 2023?
I'm
What do you got going on that you're excited
very
about?
excited about 2023. I have lots of things coming up. I think we
Grinder?
talked about this last week, didn't we? With our goals.
Yeah, we did. We did talk about our goals. But I mean, is there specific things that are is there any specific projects or specific things that you're looking forward to specifically? Like, what's your Airstream?
I don't have an Airstream, but I do have a camper, and I've been really toying with remodeling the inside of it. Although I don't know if that would be feasible because it is newer. It's, I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of
first.
I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to rip everything out and redo it. The whole point of that trailer is that it's an ultralight and everything's in there. It's in there because it's light. If I redo it, it's if I redo it, it's going to be ultra heavy. So
yeah, cherry, right?
A solid.
Always with the cherry. My goodness. I don't know. I don't have any big projects that I'm super excited about. Nothing has come across the DDWW desk yet. Oh, I take it back. Actually, this year I'm making a new desk and I'm making an office space and I'm getting all that organized. So I am actually kind of looking forward to that. No, I'm switching everything over there. There's like a whole system over there.
Ice maker still?
Yeah, no, the ice maker should be taken care of, and you won't be able to hear
your wife the ice maker.
No, I call her the ice queen. Ice queen.
Hey, well, she's nice. She listens to this.
No, I'm going to build out a better like office situation, sort of. So I am kind of looking forward to that.
So the basement situation got abandoned. You're not doing it.
It's kind of abandoned for now. I don't know. We might circle back and change all that up, but we'll see. Michael?
Pete, what about you?
I said Pete. Mike first.
All right.
Okay, fine. This year I'm excited to hopefully, get this other building built. I want to get this other building built really bad. Cool. I really want this other space. So that's my big goal for 2023 is to build out this big shop. So we need it so bad. It's ridiculous how bad we need it. But that's my big thing that I'm really excited about. So
do you need it bad?
From what I understand, he needs it pretty bad.
I need it bad.
From what I hear, you need it real bad.
I need it real bad.
On a scale of 1 to bad.
Say, I need it bad, Daddy.
All right, Pete.
No. Say it.
This next question is from
Coward.
Pete. You saying "say it" to me is the most awkward conversation we've ever had in years.
Also, an awkward boner.
Say it, you little bitch.
What am I supposed to do with this thing now?
Those were the last words of that body across the street.
Say it. I am excited for this year. Last year I had like some very vague goals. I was trying to figure stuff out because we just moved into this house and like I don't know where the business and everything's gonna go. This year it's content and actual house projects. Kind of how Jason's been saying that like his wife motivates his projects. The honey-do list has been getting very long, and I've been knocking out all of it's literally on my desk for some reason in this Rubik's Cube, but it's been getting very long with like electrical, put lights here, swap out this thing, fix the faucet. I've done all the house chores. I need to start building the furniture. So I'm very excited to tackle the furniture. I want to start recording the projects and working with Trevor a little bit more. So I need to get some videos over to him and see how that goes. So hopefully a year from now, I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh, I actually did that thing. And I'm not just being like, oh, I still haven't put out a YouTube video this year. That's great. So that's it. Content and house projects, house furniture.
Nice.
Yeah.
This
And I'm also
next
excited to
question
work
is
with
actually
Cam
from
and Jackman.
Pete. Oh,
Say it.
yeah, it's gonna be a hot collab.
Anyways, Mike.
Say it.
Say it.
Okay, I'm gonna say it right now. It's right here.
Jeremy Hardees, as woodworkers and small business owners, how do ye deal with the fact that the local market has a need for cabinetry, but the thought of crafting and installing them makes ye want to walk the plank? How do ye reconcile your passion for woodworking with the demand of the market? Important note is that my area does not require any licenses or certificates to make cabinets or a contractor's license to install. I need it bad, daddy.
Thank you, Michael.
Just had to fire up a quick Word document to get that rolling.
She did a good job with the pirate accent.
Yeah. I like it.
I need
like-
it bad, daddy.
It's like if AIs had pirates had AIs, whatever.
I need that sound clip, Mike.
That's good.
You can do it. You just right click on anything you highlight. Type it in. I'm not gonna say
Yeah,
it.
but here's the
You're gonna pull
thing.
it out.
That I need that clip. Otherwise, like I can't put that in.
I need it bad, daddy.
There it is.
That clip.
I need that
yeah.
whole clip actually.
It'll be in Mike's audio.
The whole thing. All right.
That won't be in
we'll
Mike's
figure it out
audio.
after this. I'll get it for you,
Oh.
buddy.
Jeez.
No, it won't be in my audio. I'll get it for you. I'll get it for
Oh,
you,
that's
Dan.
right.
Don't worry. I'll get it for you.
Cool.
I don't know what the question was. Something about
I don't either. I was
Someone's
too
dad.
busy laughing.
Oh.
Cabinetry.
He's
not
asking,
listen?
how do you reconcile your passion for woodworking with the demand of the market? So he's saying there isn't enough demand in his market to build, standalone furniture pieces. Most of his business he needs to pivot towards built-ins and cabinetry to cabinetary to or whatever it said.
Cabinetry.
That's right. He needs to pivot specifically to
Cabinetry.
otherwise he'll never be able to make his nut. So this is fun. I'm going to use this little feature often.
Oh, we're
I
gonna
don't
read
know.
all of Tomas' questions this way now.
Yeah. Dan, what do you think about having to do that? I mean,
I don't know. I don't necessarily have that problem. I kind of lean on content creation to kind of fill that void, I guess. I'm going to be honest. I don't follow the question. I wasn't paying attention. I was listening to the
okay,
jokes.
Pete, if you had
Sure.
if you had to get more into cabinetry and
Yeah.
not into and you couldn't do woodworking because your market, or you couldn't do traditional furniture, standalone furniture builds because your market doesn't have people buying armoires or tables or desks or anything like that, and you had to do built-ins all the time to be able to do.
You
your
don't have to
woodworking
actually
business. What do you
repeat the
think?
question to me because I heard it, but Dan didn't.
right.
But thank you for.
But I was listening
Dan,
again,
thank you for
so-
listening. Yeah. So
I was repeating it to you just so Dan could hear.
appreciate that. One of the reasons my woodworking journey, as I love to say that, that's how it started. It started with stuff that people needed, stuff that I was not passionate about at all. I didn't really enjoy. It's just what they needed, and I was trying to get into it. And I was very excited to get work. So I was doing a lot of that. now I'm in a fortunate position where I'm not relying, I have a day job. The 3D print shop brings some good income. I'm not relying on commissions. So now I get to say no. I've said no to a bunch of projects over the last couple of months. And now I'm starting to officially, I said for this year, I am taking on some commission work. And
let's say you didn't have your day job and you got into furniture and you couldn't sell standalone furniture pieces and you had to do built-ins. That you're comparing two things.
Earmuffs. Mike Coffey has taught me one thing, is that if you stand your ground and you set your prices and you really care about and follow the projects you want to do, you will make money. I will give Mike that one thing. He has taught me that valuable lesson.
I need a bad daddy.
Yeah, you do. But like, it's true. It's and I'll throw it to Mike. Or Mike, did you talk about this yet? But basically, like the whole approach of like, you really have to do what you're passionate about, and you got to stand your ground. And yes, sometimes you have to take on jobs that just feed the family, pay the bills. But if stand your ground and keep working towards it, because although it took a lot longer and I had to do it a roundabout way, I'm able to start now doing woodworking for pleasure and taking on projects that I actually enjoy and still make money and pay the bills. And I didn't have to compromise myself too much, thanks to some advice that I got from my friends. Mike, what would you say?
Mike already said, didn't he?
I would say.
Well, did he?
No, I did not say.
Oh,
I didn't.
This is just a mess.
I would say that. Yeah, it's really falling apart in the 12th hour here.
Siri read it.
Yeah. I would say that if your market doesn't have what you want to do, it's tough because. So we're going into what appears to be a recession, and I think standalone furniture pieces are going to be not as in demand as they've been in the last, I'd say 10 years or so, or 8 years. So some people are probably going to have to pivot to cabinetry and more built-ins. However, I will say that built-ins, I mean, there's really good, stable and repeatable money in that stuff. So that I feel like the way this is being approached by the person who's writing it in is kind of like looking down on those things. And I could be misunderstanding that. And he could just be saying, hey, I don't want to do built-ins and I have to do built-ins to pay the bills. So that's fine. If you don't want to do them,
there's good money in that,
but you have to do them. There's just good, consistent money in them. Like kitchens have good, decent margins once you get your processes figured out. So for me,
there's good money in sending people pictures of your feet too, but I don't want to do that.
Right. Exactly. So if it's like, what do you want to do with your time?
I don't want to do it anymore,
Once you got your trailer paid off, you didn't have to.
Yeah.
No, it's like, it's like what I think some people are in the situation where they want to be a studio furniture, one-off furniture maker, standalone furniture maker. And then they find themselves in this market where that just isn't a reality. There's just not enough money there. And they have to do these things where they have to do kitchens and they have to do all these built-in. And I think you kind of need to pivot your approach and how you look at it with those things. I think you need to look at it and be like, yeah, I still get to do woodworking, which is the thing I love. May not be able to build the things that I love, but I'm going to do everything I can to keep paying my bills and chasing down the work that I do love on the side. So, I haven't been in that situation, so I can't really give that exact advice. Like I've been fortunate to where I've taken on work that I don't like doing, but the work I've taken on that I don't like doing, I have employees that actually enjoy doing that. Mm-hmm. So the company's bringing in revenue and I have employees that have a good job or that they have a job now and they are doing something that they enjoy. Like Matt loves doing these production jobs. I do not like doing production jobs. I just want to do one-off pieces of furniture. So I understand where this guy's coming in from. I just want to do one-off pieces of furniture. However, I have my shop built out in a way now, and I have another piece of tooling coming very soon where we could very, very effectively chase down cabinet work and kitchens. So, it's something I'm thinking about for 2023. And that is probably going to require me hiring someone who knows more about how to do that because I, one, don't know how to do that. And two, don't want to do that. So I'm going to bring someone in who knows how to do that and kind of chase that in my marketplace because cabinets and kitchens and built-ins are a bit more recession proof than $15,000 lawyer desks. They just start to go away after a certain amount of time. And I think that might be what we're probably going to see in the next year or two, maybe till 2025. But I'm not an economic expert. This is just what I'm hearing from customers and companies that I do a lot of business with. Jason.
So when I first started doing woodworking, and before I found the hardwood dealer that I get all my hardwood from now, the only place I knew to go get hardwood, because I was building small stuff like little like chintzy beer holders and things like that, was a local cabinet shop in town, and I would go basically buy their scraps from them. And every time I would go into this cabinet shop, they'd be doing like full production of cabinets and built-ins and all sorts of like, you know, plywood boxes, and there'd be 3 employees working on that stuff. And then off in the corner, there would be this guy making furniture, and he was an older guy, and I'd see him in there, you know, occasionally. Sometimes he's there, sometimes just a piece he was working on would be in the corner. And finally, one time when I was in there, I asked one of the guys that I had befriended who was buying the stuff from, I was like, what's the deal with this guy? He's always in there building completely different stuff than what you guys are building. And he said, oh, that's the owner. And he said he just really loves building furniture.
That's Mike's dream.
Yep.
And basically the story of the whole thing was he started out doing furniture, but that's not the thing that sold the most. He built this entire cabinetry built-in company around him, but he got to the point where he doesn't have to run it. His employees do that. They're really good at it. And he's in the corner building his furniture. And not to say that that's an easy transition.
No.
But I would say, look at this more as an opportunity. You can make a crazy amount of money doing cabinetry and built-ins. I did a ton of that stuff. And the money there is really good. It's not the most exciting thing. You're building a bunch of boxes. But the cool thing about that is it's a very easy thing to teach other people. Where custom furniture is harder to teach employees because you have to have an artistic eye. And I don't know, it's just harder to teach that. So I would view it like, try and build that up, try and make it something bigger. You could get to a point where that's the real money maker and you're still in the corner like the old guy building furniture.
Yep.
Pete just said that's literally my dream and literally what I'm building my business as right now. Like I have
talking
all
about
these
this for the last couple of months.
Yeah, this is like all I want to do is have my business running and oversee everything from 30,000 feet, and it does its thing, and I can just build really cool stuff all the time and film it. That's all I want to do all day long. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
But Dan, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, sometimes you got to do the stuff that you don't like doing so you can feed that animal. That the stuff that you don't like doing pays you well enough so you can do the things you like doing.
Like,
so,
just like, what's one picture of your feet? It's not that big a deal.
They can't even identify you by your feet anyway.
It'll lead to bigger opportunities.
Also, here's another take I wanted to throw in from the great Kevin McAllister. If you build it, they will come. It's Kevin Kevin Costner. There we go.
McAllister.
Kevin McAllister.
Kevin.
No, if you build it, they will come.
Say, keep the change, you filthy animals.
People aren't going to buy stuff from you unless they can see.
Which is also a good
people
thing to
need
say to your
people
clients.
need to see stuff. People need to see things.
Yeah, no, he's right. You don't want to shoehorn yourself into all your content as cabinets. People are gonna be like, "Oh, he makes cabinets. I can have him do my kitchen."
Yeah, but I will say, I mean, there's
something
some
else.
really, really popular channels or pages on Instagram. That's all they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
And
content.
they do a fantastic freaking job at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. I mean, I would say my overall point was like, I wouldn't look down on cabinet work because it's its own art in its own way, because you are building a lot of boxes, but you do have to get very good at it to make you got to be good at it to make money at it.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep making mistakes, you're going to have to go back. You're going to have callbacks. You're going to have to fix stuff. You're going to start losing your money there. But if you can find a way to get yourself established as a well-trusted kitchen shop, you're going to crush your market and it's going to go very well for you. So
there's a demographic for everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyways, those were all very good questions.
Those are all the questions.
That's it. That's all the questions. We got them all.
That's crazy. We usually get way more questions than that on our podcast, Shop Sounds podcast. No, you don't. Apple and Spotify.
I can't remember the last time you guys had a question.
Well, you have to be a patron and be in the after show for that.
The last time they had a question, they ended up finding that guy's body in the field next to Jason's house.
Yeah. Don't ask questions.
I have one last question. Mike, how can I save $50 on a WorkbenchCon ticket this year?
If you were to go to WorkbenchCon, you could use code.
just went ahead and
If
muted
you
him on
type
that one.
in, if you type in,
I need it bad daddy.
you'll get $50 off. No, if you type in AWP,
God damn it!
Or
I'm gonna have
shop
to edit
sounds.
in that clip 100 times.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
you don't
put
have
that in
to.
there.
You can just assume it.
Hour 40.
I don't
gang.
actually know how to
Hour
pull that
40.
audio. Anyway, big thanks to Jason for coming on the show, man. It's always
is
great
this it?
talking to you. It's great
Are we
having you.
done?
Yeah, we're done. We're wrapping this
Oh,
bad
wow.
boy
That was
up.
short.
The
The
bad
podcasts are
dad.
way longer.
We'll go
around
as
shop
long as you
sounds.
want, Daddy.
Well, now I'm
You take us out of
uncomfortable.
here, Pete. Now I don't want to
Yeah.
do this.
That was
Thanks for
awkward.
joining us, guys. Make sure to check us all out on
Before it
on
was funny, now it's just dirty.
Spotify and Apple Podcasts, like this guy. And check out Jason Hibbs on YouTube, Instagram, and of course, check out his
YouPorn.
podcast.
But yeah,
You know,
has
Sounds
a
Will Never
podcast?
Die. Yeah.
Sounds will never die.
it's true.
Check out the Shop Sounds podcast on, unfortunately, just two places: Apple Podcasts.
It's the only
and
places I
Spotify.
know about. Who else
it.
listens to a podcast on a different place? Nobody.
Nobody.
RSS feeds and
What the hell is
YouTube.
that?
I don't know. Old people.
It's I think it's a Chevy Camaro. RSS.
You can also catch us on 89.9 FM.
FM, but only in Seattle.
Yeah,
Well,
Oregon's greatest hits.
that's the
Greatest
Fraser
hits.
Crane.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. I don't know why I'm doing the outro. Mike just threw it to me and I went with it.
He's on
Yeah,
his
you're doing a
phone.
great job, Pete.
No,
This is
Way to
good. This is
doodle
good
jump.
Thank
stuff.
you to all our patrons, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
I love you all. Bye.
And
Big thank you
all
to
the
our
patrons
patrons.
of this podcast, if you want to save some money and get a better experience, so you can sign up for Patreon on Shop Sounds.
Get out of here.
Patreon.
All right, kill it.
Love you all next week. See you next week.
Bye,
Bye.
bye,
Bye. Bye.
Love you long time.
Love you long time. Bye.